You joining me this morning as we continue on with our Lenten set of devotionals. And for those of you who are joining us for the first time, what we mean by that word Lenten is it is the 40 days leading up to Easter. And we've been doing special readings out of a special devotional book to take a look at just getting ready for that. And today what we're looking at is this idea, heaven as a choice, not a test. Heaven as a choice, not a test. And it's the idea that folks that heaven, it's so easy to think like that when we die we go to these pearly gates and that there's the drill instructor right there and they decide who comes in and who doesn't. I don't think that's really how it works. It's much more about a choice, and both it's choices we make in this life, it's choices we make in the next life. It's all about this choice, and the choice really connects in beautifully with Easter and how life works. Now to get at that choice. So yesterday at New Church Live, we had a service on grieving, and it was anything we do. A lot of people have touch points on it, so we had like 80 some odd. Excuse me, not 80. Sorry, wrong number there. We had like 18 people who were part of actually planning that service in different ways, shapes, or forms. So that was good. And this service on grieving, folks, like what it reminds me doing a service like this, talking with people after the service, talking with people during the service online, is there's just a part of us that just is filled with grief. I don't know how else to describe it. There's a part of us that really grieves, that struggles over the loss of loved ones, and it's almost a universal experience. I mean, I think some people may not wrestle with it as much as others, and some certainly have had less tragic things to work with than other people, but it's pretty much a universal human experience, and that deals with the margins. It's you hear a lot in Christian circles about the idea of going to the margins, and in a number of ways that is really accurate. There is, of course, going to the margins of our own experience, and that includes things like grieving, the edges that are a little uncomfortable to travel to, but somehow we know we have to, and especially around grieving and things like that, we know that we have to show up there. And then there's traveling to the margins in a quite literal sense too, which means serving those who are out there on the margins. And I'm using that word service there really, really deliberately. We're not there to fix. We're not even there to necessarily help, because help says, I know exactly what you need. We're there to serve, and service always starts with questions, not with answers and agendas. So that's where the call starts to be, is how do we do this? And I want to read for you something from Matthew 25. And sometimes, in new church circles and with people with New Church Live, they will ask, well, sort of, what's your church all about? And if it's somebody who's got a lot of Christian background, I will say we are a Matthew 25 church. And that's because it deals with this particular line that is indeed incredibly beautiful line. All right. This is Matthew 25, verses 40 and 45. I assure you, whatever you did for one of these, the least of me, you did, one of the least of these, you did for me. Whatever you neglected to do for one of the least of these, you neglected to do for me. So that idea of the margins is beautiful. Here's God saying, like, if you want to find me, you will find me on the margins. And I think a lot of the time we do find God on the margins, both of our own experience and out there in the world as we seek to serve. I certainly have found that true over and over again. And then the other part of it here, folks, that's really beautiful is notice what God's doing here. God's drawing a moral equivalent between himself, us, and our neighbor, and especially those neighbors who are struggling. So just allow that in for a second. When I was getting ready for this morning, that word moral equivalency really, really struck me. God's not saying like, here I am up here and my job is to bring it down to here. He's saying, no, look, there's a moral equivalency between all of us, and God's including himself in that us. That's powerful, powerful stuff. And that idea of being able to serve in that place, Even the places that are raw, that are hard, that are challenging. And I think you can see the tying with Easter here. Even a willingness like to go there really can make a difference. And it's why I think, and I say this a lot, and I probably shouldn't, but it's why again I start with anything that smacks of prosperity gospel, and that church is somehow here to make everybody much happier and much more filled with glee. I mean, we obviously want people to be filled with joy, and we hope that we can all share that joy together. But the point of it is much more profound than just a simple carnival ride. The point of it is this having this gravitas of life, where we see this choice of heaven, and this choice of heaven inevitably should pull us out there to the margins, both again of our own experience, as well as to the margins out there into the world where we can serve. And there's good news in that, folks, and that's the last word I'll leave you with. Like, just the moral equivalency, like, just allow that miracle in today, and just start to see God in those places, because that in Matthew 25 is what God is asking us to do, this Lenten season. So that's my thought for today, friends. We're going to do a little meditation now, followed by prayer, followed by a blessing. You can leave a comment on any number of our different platforms that we stream to, and we will get to commenting on those throughout the day. I'll be reading a few comments here this morning. So with that, friends, let's all get a big breath and the bell. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord lift his face upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, friends. So, take a look at a few comments here. And again, I hope you're all doing well. And if you do want to look back and look at that service, it's posted all over the place, the service on grieving. Well worth. I'm having a little problem there. Comments. Well worth taking a look at. It was a very special service. And as always, we are very fortunate to have amazing musicians who just offer a lot of beautiful things. All right. Sorry about that. Should have my volume off there. Ange, good morning to you, my friend. Great to chat with you last week. Linda, good morning to you, and looking forward to our little dinner crew here. Carolyn, great to see you joining us, and I loved your comments yesterday. They were very touching. Thank you. Kim, great to see you joining us this morning as well. Patricia, thank you for joining us. this morning. Uh, Sherry writes, heaven is a choice, not a test. What a simple way to express something I've had trouble explaining for years. Thank you. You are welcome, Jerry. And I do think that's it just sort of changes it, right? Like mentioned to somebody, one of my favorite quotes is saving heaven for a far off day shows a lack of gratitude. That's from Maya Angelou. And you've heard me quote that before, I'm sure. And that idea, like, right, like really we can choose heaven now, if that's our choice. And it doesn't mean heaven now is when we choose heaven, it doesn't mean choosing a pain-free, problem-free existence. I could do a whole sermon on that, but important, I think, to remember. Gene, great to see you joining us this morning as well. Rita, good morning to you, and I hopefully you got to see the little Christmas gift there. Made it into the service yesterday. Carl writes, happy Monday. Wonderful message yesterday. Thank you. Blessings to all working at the Matthew 25 margins. Namaste. Thank you, Carl, very much. And Jerry, I like that. Have a grand day. Yes, and may all of you folks have a grand day and wishing you all the very best. And we will see you folks tomorrow. God bless. Bye-bye.